Alright, so paleo nutrition. Why are we here? Why are you guys here? They didn't make you come, right?
I was forced.
You were forced?
Yeah.
Alright, Anthony is forced.
The doctor told me that.
Alright, smart doctor. Who else? Why are you guys here?
Get healthy.
Okay.
Better dieting.
Okay.
Just better shape.
Okay. No one wants to perform better in there?
Oh, absolutely.
Alright, cool. So that's what you're gonna learn how paleo relates to all of that tonight. So how do you perform better? And how are you healthier overall if you were to make the poor decision of ever leaving this gym? Alright? So why we're here, the World Health Organization put out in 1997 this statement that basically says Western diets or Western civilizations are consuming a diet and living a lifestyle that is opposite of what our genes evolved to live in order to express health. So what they're saying is worldwide the adoption of the mainstream American westernized diet has led to an increase in the chronic diseases that we see today: heart disease, diabetes, cancer, yada yada yada, autoimmune diseases, all of that. Anyone have a problem or objection to that? Good, smart crowd so far. So that's not really telling you anything you couldn't intuit on your own or maybe didn't know, but it's good to show evidence for these things. So I'm going to show you research tonight, and I always try and back up what I say with proof so that you're not taking me for my word, because there's plenty of people out there who are just happy to go by their own opinion, and there's a lot of garbage spread that way. So always keep in your mind, where did you read that? May I have a copy when you're hearing people say certain things that may not jive with your beliefs or things as you understand them. Alright, so what is this Western diet that they're talking about? What is America living? How are Americans living in westernized societies living? What choices are they making that are leading to these chronic diseases? That would be the Western diet. So that all started in 1982 to be exact, when the ADA, American Dietetics Association, came out with the low-fat, high-carb diet. All right, everyone's heard of this, probably eaten that way until some point in your life, maybe even up until today, because that's what's recommended by the American Heart Association, the American Diabetic Association. All of the major mainstream medical associations recommend the food pyramid, which would be a low-fat, high-carb diet. Okay? That first appeared on the scene in 1982, and the purpose for that was to lower cholesterol and lower the fat intake, because they had quote-unquote found or discovered that cholesterol was the cause of heart disease and stroke. So their theory was, let's lower the fat in our diets and raise the carbs. Getting rid of the fat will get rid of heart disease, diabetes, stroke, and all of that. So how has that worked? If we map America's obesity rate since 1980 to today, we would have another burger even higher. And what it's done is go from low to higher every single year. Alright, so if fat's the cause of obesity and we get rid of fat, that should have gone straight or decreased, right? Not gone up. So just based on your knowledge so far, is fat the cause of heart disease? Doesn't look like it so far.
Bad fats.
Right?
There's good fat and bad fat.
There's good fat and bad fat. Yep.
So you were the bad fat.
Yep. What is the bad fat?
Nah, I don't know.
Okay.
I've heard bad fat and good fat.
Okay. Okay. So I like questions too. Definitely be interactive. There's only one bad fat, and that's trans fat. Okay. But trans fat is man-made. So if we avoid that, we're going to be okay. All the other fats, even though some are marketed as bad, like saturated fat is a villain to most, saturated fat isn't bad. All fat is good and necessary in certain amounts, right? There's limits. But just based on what we know in this graph, if fat was the enemy, at least from an obesity standpoint, it should have gone down, or at least leveled off to even since 1982, correct? But what it's done is grow more and more every year, exponentially. So one way that this graph is misleading and it probably wasn't by accident, but they're graphing it as more burgers, more burgers, more burgers, trying to symbolize why America's getting fat. But really, as Anthony's about to learn, because I know a book he's reading, we should get rid of the burgers and just have stacks of buns here. Alright, because we got rid of fat, and people kept getting fat. So what was left is protein and carbs. And protein doesn't make you fat. Alright, so what makes you fat is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are sugar, whether it's from an apple or a piece of wheat toast or broccoli. Carbohydrates are sugar. Any sugar that isn't burned by your body goes straight to fat. Alright, so we got rid of fat, we increased carb intake, and if we stayed sedentary or stayed at our normal energy levels, energy expenditure levels, and continued eating more carbs, we're putting on fat by the pounds. Okay? Make sense? You can ask questions at any time too. This is a different graph showing that a little different thing. So Anthony talked about bad fats. So everyone's heard of omega-3 fats in fish oil? Yeah? What, are those good or bad?
Good.
Those are good. Okay? Those are absolutely good. They are antibacterial, antiviral, anti-cancer, anti-clotting. All right, they have all kinds of health promotional benefits. Omega-6s are kind of the opposite of omega-3s, and people look at omega-6s as bad. Omega-6 are pro-inflammatory, pro-cancer, pro-heart disease, pro-clotting. All right, so there's no bad in those, out of those two. The omega-6 aren't bad. Just omega-6 is out of ratio to omega-3 is bad. Okay? Everyone with me so far? So you have an omega-6 to an omega-3 ratio. The healthiest human beings on earth stay within a 4 to 1 to 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. When you step outside of that, you're swinging things omega-6 way. So you're swinging them towards the pro-inflammatory, pro-cancer, pro-heart disease, pro-stroke, pro-clot. Alright? So, in the American diet, if you think about that WHO statement, the World Health Organization statement that we started with, is the American diet higher in 6s or in 3s?
6s.
How high? So if a healthy ratio is 4 to 1, between 1 to 1 and 4 to 1, where do you think Western society is with their ratio?
10 to 1.
10 to 1?
Any other guesses? What is an omega-6? I mean, omega-3's in fish.
Yeah.
But I don't know where do you find omega-6?
Omega-6s are in grains, predominantly in grains. They're in dairy, but the highest source that you're getting your 6s are from grains.
100 to 1.
I've never even heard of omega-6.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 40 to 1. Okay, so if 1 to 1 to 4 to 1 is healthy, we're living in 40 to 1, the typical American. Now, Anthony made a good point. He'd never heard of omega-6s because you have 3 essential fats: omega-6, omega-3, 6, and 9. 9 your body can produce from 6 and 3, so it doesn't get a whole lot of press. 3 and 6 you can't produce, so therefore they're essential. You must get them from diet. 3 you hear about because of all the health benefits. 6 you don't hear about unless you're really studying it, but 6 is the one when it's out of ratio leading to these issues.
What about animal fat? Is that a 6 then?
It depends.
Also, it could be a 3. I mean, I'm talking about like beef and...
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. So what this graph is showing is basically the higher the omega-6 intake, the higher the risk of death from cardiovascular disease. Alright? If omega-6s are most commonly found in grains, and we cut out fats and focus on high carb, carbs are usually grains, right? Your bagels, cookies, breads. America lives on grains. We are eating ourselves into a heart attack as Americans. Alright, makes sense? Oh man, this is my favorite slide. There's no pictures. Alright, so this is where I'm going to really kill the fat and cholesterol myth here. So low-fat food, watch how this all comes together, okay? Low-fat diet. So if we go low-fat, high-carb diet, watch how this creates just a chronic disease system or industry. think about that word. Alright, so we cut out fats, blaming fats as bad, gave you carbs, saying fats are making you fat, eat more carbs. We know carbs become sugar. Carbs unburned, or sugar unburned, becomes fat. Alright? So Anthony, if you eat a whole bunch of carbs and go to your doctor and have blood work drawn, what's probably going to show up? Anybody? High cholesterol, right? Sugar. The number one selling drug in history is Lipitor, which is a statin drug. Alright? $86 billion, I believe, last year. Alright, Lipitor, what are the statin drugs? What's the premise of those? Why are they prescribed? Lower your cholesterol. Alright, so lowering your cholesterol would do what? Based on their premise.
Open up your artery and make you healthier.
Make you healthier, lower your risk of heart disease, stroke, right? That's the premise, or that's what you're told. Good. So after studying statins for 20 years, what they've done is they've gone back and seen, have statins lowered cholesterol and lowered risk of death. What's really happened is that hasn't lowered your risk of death of cardiovascular disease one bit. So people are still dying at the same rate of cardiovascular disease as they were before, but they do have lower cholesterol on the statins. So it does lower cholesterol, but it's not lowering your risk of heart disease or death from it. So hardly worth it, and we'll get into that more. But so if we want to lower our cholesterol with statin, right, that seems like a good idea. But cholesterol is made from sugar. Okay? So Anthony ate a lot of grains. He didn't burn the sugar, so it became fat, raises cholesterol, right? So we're going to give him a statin to block the cholesterol production to lower his cholesterol. But now we have a backup of sugar. All right, what does high blood sugar cause over time? Diabetes, right? And diabetes leads to a whole host called metabolic syndrome of diseases, high blood pressure, gout, all kinds of stuff. So if we take a statin to lower our cholesterol that was high because of the grains we ate, the grains are now not filtering into cholesterol that we don't burn. They're hanging around in our blood as high blood sugar. We become diabetic, type 2 diabetes. So type 2 is lifestyle induced, you eat your way there. Alright, so I have a study here for you. The Archives of Internal Medicine, one of the top peer-reviewed medical journals in the world, they did a study looking at postmenopausal women and statin use and the incidence of diabetes. So the study at start was looking at 154,000 women postmenopausal with no diabetes at the start of the study. But they did have high cholesterol, so they put them on statins. After 3 years, they went back and looked at how many women in the study had diabetes. What do you think the number was? Just throw someone out.
28.
28? 50?
70.
70?
40.
40? 50? 50? Half. Alright. 71. So 7 out of 10 women, none of them had diabetes at the start. The only thing they changed was they all went on statins. In 3 years, 70% of 154,000 women had diabetes. So that's 109,300 if you're doing the math. Induced by the statin. Okay? So ask yourself when you have blood work done, or you have a friend or loved one have blood work done and they're being recommended to be put on statins, is it worth it to lower your cholesterol but not lower your risk of death at all and give yourself a very high risk of diabetes? Okay? Very, very dangerous drug, and we'll talk. I don't think I have it in here. Yeah. So let me show you one more thing here on the statin issue, and then we'll get off it. This study is from the Journal of Evaluation in Clinical Practice. So this journal looks at mainstream medical recommendations and goes back and says, are our practices valid, or should we change things? So this article looked at the use of cholesterol and the number that we want you to be at. So Anthony has a, say, 225 cholesterol. We want you at 180 or below these days, right? Or not me, but medical doctors do. So they went back to study that. Is that valid? And what they found was, if you graphed it on a chart here, if this is your risk of death from all causes, this is your cholesterol number. It actually is a U-shaped distribution. So if Anthony went to the doctor and had his blood drawn and had a 225, he's going to be seen as high risk by that medical doctor and be prescribed a statin drug and say, we want you, at this point it's about, we want you at 180 or below. All right? Otherwise, you're at risk of death, and they're giving you this spiel about fear. But what they found is, if you drop down to the axis here, between this and this is actually normal or healthy. Going this way or going this way is increasing your risk of death from all causes. All right? So this number right here was 200. And this number right here was 271. So cholesterol between 200 and 271, you're healthy as a horse. 272 and up, your risk of death from all causes is elevated. 200 and below, your risk of death from all causes is elevated. All right? So keep that in mind as well. And this is medical research. Everyone doing this study, you can look at it later, is an MD or MD PhD looking at this stuff. So for your medical doctor to say that he wants you at 180, that's basically malpractice and setting you up towards death. All right? Secondly, any questions on that? I know I'm kind of vomiting on you guys.
So you're better off, if you have high cholesterol, are you better off not taking statin? Are you?
Absolutely.
So just,
Well, that's what they're saying. You gotta go above 270 to have high cholesterol.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have a 225, you're in the sweet spot. You don't have
but
to
if
worry.
you're above 270, you're better off just modifying your diet and not taking statin.
Absolutely. The standard of care, which no medical doctor, if you have one who has done this, then tell me because I'd like to meet him. But the standard of care, if you have high cholesterol, is 6 months of intensive lifestyle change in terms of dietary change and exercise. All right, so the very first recommendation should be, wow, Anthony, you have a we'll do real numbers, you have a 272. Before I put you on a statin, let me give you a few dietary guidelines and some exercise guidelines and have you try that for 6 months. We'll bring you back, remeasure your blood, and go from there. Anyone ever had that said to them?
Well, is this considered like
Yes.
You have?
I did.
By a medical doctor?
Yes. Yes.
What was your cholesterol?
265.
Okay. I would like to meet that person.
Yeah.
Are they
He's
local?
actually a gynecologist.
Oh, wow. Nice. So he's an educated one. Keep him.
I had low good cholesterol, and I think it was because of my low good cholesterol that I was told to like increase my cardio and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so no one's going to ask what's cholesterol used for in the body, are they?
What's cholesterol used for in the body?
Okay. So, or why would I die if it's too high or too low? All right. So women, you see the postmenopausal studies in women and statins. The reason it's important for women is because women are basically hormone driven, right? Or big bags of hormones, no offense. Estrogen, progesterone, like all the hormones, testosterone, all the steroid hormones have a cholesterol backbone. So if you get too low on your cholesterol supply, you don't have the raw materials to produce the hormones that are keeping you alive or keeping you at hitting maxes here in the gym. And so if you don't have the hormones you need to function, you're hurting bad. There's cholesterol in every cell membrane in your body. So for you to have health, recovery, healing, you need cholesterol. If you had surgery or had an injury, healing takes cholesterol. And your cholesterol will be up because your body's pumping out more to help heal that wound. Okay?
My situation is a little different. My doctor didn't do what you said he wanted me. He just put me on a statin.
Yeah.
But my cholesterol,
That's typical.
My cholesterol was at 202.
Yeah.
But my ratio, he said, was really bad. Between my LDL and my HDL.
So why would lowering your total have any effect on that?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Right. But I know, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Well, now my cholesterol on medication is at like 145.
Yeah.
And my ratio is still bad.
Exactly.
It's
so
because your good cholesterol, they want it above 60 or above. Mine's at like 30. My bad cholesterol I wanted at 100 or below, and it's at 100.
Yeah. So if we're keeping your total, if we're keeping your ratio the same and lowering your total, what's that accomplishing?
You're getting rid of bad cholesterol.
No, you're not.
Well, I know, but that's what you're being told.
Yeah.
The lower your cholesterol, the better.
Yeah, not true. Found out by medical doctors and PhDs right there. You can read it. I'll send it to you. Continue reading the book too. So that premise is false. Okay. If you want to die sooner, it's very effective. Any questions on that?
You're not really making me feel good.
I know.
I might not make it out of the class.
We might get you to a paleo diet though, so that's good. Any questions on that? No?
Feeling better by the moment.
What's yours at currently, do you know?
245.
Awesome. Excellent. And last thing here, the last faulty thing about the low-fat, high-carb diet is cholesterol. Your dietary cholesterol intake has zero impact on your blood cholesterol. So the whole thing about don't eat eggs or only eat the egg whites, don't eat more than 1 yolk a day, that's a joke. Okay? Your dietary cholesterol intake has zero impact on your blood cholesterol numbers.
Because your body can't absorb it.
Your body produces it itself. Okay, so
But eating it, ingesting it,
ingesting cholesterol
it
does
doesn't
nothing.
absorb what you're ingesting.
Right.
It just
Your body produces it from raw materials that you consume, but consuming cholesterol is not it. Yeah. Guess what it is?
glucose, sugars.
Yeah, sugar and carbs. All right. The only dietary input that impacts your cholesterol is your carbohydrate intake. Okay. So if you're not burning it right away because you're going to hit Fran, which you'll learn what that is someday soon, it's vicious. If you're not burning it in a workout, you're turning it into fat and or cholesterol. And so higher carb intake is going to jack up your cholesterol numbers. So if you want to lower your cholesterol, we lower our carb intake. We don't take statins. So is it genetic? We hear this all the time. Oh, I have genetically high cholesterol because my dad did, and my mom did, and my grandfather did, right? So Boyd Eaton is the top researcher in the world on hunter-gatherer populations in the world. In the American Journal of Medicine in 1988, he said, there has been absolutely no change in our genes during this period. He's referring to the period from the agricultural revolution till today, so the last 10,000 years. There has been no change in our genes in the last 10,000 years. During the same time having exponential increase in chronic diseases, prescription rates, and spending. So it's statistically and scientifically absurd to blame the increases in chronic illness on genes. Let that sit for a minute. Does that make sense? So in the last 10,000 years...
John, do you want to put more?
I have two here. Let's see. Yes. In the last 10,000 years, if this is time, this is today, this is 10,000 years ago, when the first farmer put a seed in the soil, agricultural revolution. All right, our genes, our chronic disease rate has gone like this. Our genes have done this. That's a straight line if I didn't have Parkinson's. Okay? So no change in our genes in 10,000 years, skyrocketing exponential change in our chronic disease. So if it was genes, or if it was due to genetic change, the genetic change should change with the chronic disease increase. Make sense? So if it's not genes, what is it? Diet, lifestyle, right?
Global warming.
Huh?
Global warming.
Global warming. Lifestyle. Okay, so there's a problem with this. If it's not genes, then the whole victim mentality that you've been raised on and been clinging to your whole life is no longer valid. So I'm not saying you guys were, but if I've grown up my whole life saying my grandfather had high cholesterol, my dad had high cholesterol, I have high cholesterol, I might as well live with it and take this statin, you know, to keep me alive until I keel over from something. That sets you up perfectly to be a consumer of a $86 billion drug and fattened pockets of people who are laughing behind their desks. If it's not genes, if it's choice and lifestyle, then it's awesome because it gives you hope that you can change your life and change your current situation. But it's also hard because it's all on you and the choices you're making day in and day out. So it's kind of a double-edged sword unless you're cool with, hey, I'm accountable and responsible for the choices I'm making and the health I'm expressing. Any feedback there? Yeah.
My grandpa had high blood pressure. My dad had high blood pressure. I don't have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Right? It's not genetic.
No. So let's dig into that a little more. Because I know you guys are probably thinking about it. You're saying, so what? My grandpa still has high, my dad still has high, and I have high. What that is not genetic, it's familial. Okay? So if your grandpa had high blood pressure, he probably ate and lived in a way that your father mirrored. Alright? And you've probably mirrored what your father's done up until this point. So that is a learned trait, not a genetic trait. So you've learned and modeled the way they've lived and the lifestyles they've patterned, and you've had the same result. So if you want a different result, you have to change the way you've lived and the choices you've made. Right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's generational insanity. Okay? So why paleo? Because he said it. Because where we are today, WHO said in 97, we've caused this chronic disease by the choices we've made. It's now 2013. It hasn't changed, but people are becoming more aware. Why paleo? Because by assuming that man and technology can improve on everything, we've actually, degraded in health and society, family unit, everything. All right. So paleo. What's paleo stand for? Anyone know? We've gone this far into it. No one's asked. Paleo is short for Paleolithic, the Paleolithic period, the hunter-gatherer period, our hunter-gatherer ancestors. So 10,001 years ago and back. All right. So before the agricultural revolution, when we learned how to plant, we lived as hunter-gatherers, and that's what the Paleo diet refers to is mirroring or practicing a way of eating that our Paleolithic ancestors ate. And we'll get into it more, but the reason we would want to do that is because when we look at them and study them, both the fossil remains and the hunter-gatherer societies that are still alive today, they don't have any of these chronic diseases. Heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, you name it, it's not there. Alright? So why paleo? Again, we're stressed out, we're fat, and we're in a current state of Farmageddon, is what this picture's called. The average American is on 13 prescription drugs. How many are you guys on? You don't have to answer it, but just think about it. If it's none, then someone's on 26 because you're taking none. The average is 13. That's you laugh, but that's disgusting. Think about that. So what is paleo? We covered that. So we've digressed or regressed. So we need to turn it around. Paleo is what we are. So again, from Boyd Eaton, again, he's just saying, from a genetic standpoint, humans living today are just hunter-gatherers that got in a time travel and jumped into a more technologically advanced society. So basically, our genes are still in 10,001 years ago mode, but we're living in current technologically advanced, society, thinking we can improve on things, but we can't. Because of that, our current state is a potent promoter of chronic illness. Thoughts? Questions? So what is paleo? Enough of this history lecture stuff. So how did our hunter-gatherer ancestors eat? Yes? You can have the yes box. No? We want to avoid. So if we think about it critically, 10,001 years ago, if we weren't farming, how are we eating?
We killed.
Yeah, we killed. That's the hunter part.
Whatever is there.
And we gathered whatever we found. So that limits things pretty significantly. We killed our meat, so buffalo, deer, whatever we saw. They ate meat, and then they gathered their fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. once in a while, you know, they came across a beehive and thought it was worth the stings to get a sweet drip of that honey. But otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot of sweets. They didn't have a lot of maple syrup taps in the trees. So the super sweet stuff was very limited. So they stuck to meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. They did not have grains because they didn't know how to plant. Okay? They did not have refined sugar because obviously they had no way of refining things. Didn't have dairy. All right. Didn't have legumes because it was too hard to plant things in the soil. Or they didn't know how to plant. You know, and the things under the soil they weren't foraging for. So pretty simple. And right now you're freaking out, right? My bagel with peanut butter every morning. Let me be honest with you. When I learned this, when I knew I had to quit peanut butter, that hurt my feelings more than anything. But almond butter is amazing. So is sunflower butter, cashew butter. All right. So questions here. Come on, speak up. Let's go. Who's mad?
You get to eat a lot of bacon.
Absolutely. That is a monster plus.
Basically, everything I eat is wrong.
Yeah.
Except for I think I'm doing wrong eating the steak.
Yeah. Welcome to America.
It's just that.
Yeah, so your question before about meat, omega-3, omega-6, can meat be one or the other? Absolutely. So what you're going to find is well, when I said that, who had the same cognitive dissonance as him? Saying like, hey, wait a minute. The steak I thought was wrong is right. Why did you think that? Because what are you told?
It's got a lot of fat in it.
Because it's what?
Increased cholesterol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Cholesterol.
And it's red meat, right?
Red meat, yeah. Red meat.
meat.
You're not supposed to
Red
eat
meat's
red
bad.
meat once a week.
Absolutely wrong. The wrong red meat is bad and you should avoid, but the right red meat you can eat every meal.
What's wrong with it?
Okay? The wrong red meat is man-made or man-altered red meat. So your cows from Kansas who are grown on corn. Alright? Just think about food. A simple way to do it is food by God or food by man. Alright? If we weren't here, what would a cow eat?
Grass.
Yeah. When man interferes, what does a cow eat?
Grains.
Why does a cow eat grains?
It's fat. Puts on more meat. So.
Dollars. Yeah, exactly. Alright, so I'm not a conspiracy theorist, we're being real here, and Anthony just took us there. Man interferes because man wants to make money. Alright? Man doesn't care about your health, man wants to make money. By making money, or in order to make money, man feeds the cow corn, gets the cow fat quickly, gets the cow fatter, faster, right? So they have it to Harris Teeter faster, you buy it faster, money in their pocket faster. The problem is, cows don't eat corn, cows don't digest corn well, corn makes cows obese. With obesity comes cancer, heart disease, diabetes in the cow, just like us. Alright, so if you eat, if you are what you eat, and you eat a grain-fed cow, what are you going to develop?
All the bad diseases.
Yeah. So you are what you eat, right? But you are what you eat eats too, because it's a food chain. So if that cow was raised on corn and grains, is that an omega-6 cow or an omega-3 cow? 6. So is that a healthy cow or an unhealthy cow? Yeah. If our cow ate grass, is that an omega-6 cow or an omega-3 cow? 3. Is that a healthy cow or an unhealthy cow? Healthy. Get it?
And can you do the same thing with seafood, like farm raised?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same.
Same thing. Farm-raised salmon is grain-fed. Fish don't eat. When do fish eat corn? Think about the idiocy of this stuff, right? And then we're, you know, and then we want to cut out a whole section of our food chain that our genetics developed on because what we've tinkered with is making us sick. So automatically all red meat's bad. No, the wrong red meat is bad. The right red meat is essential. Okay.
So wild meat would be the best.
Wild game is the absolute best. Yeah. If you're a hunter, it's awesome. Unless your deer are eating corn, which isn't happening, so don't worry about it. Alright, so same with chickens. You hear about the free-range chickens. Chickens eat grubs and eat corn, not corn. Chicken eat grubs and grass and stuff they scratch out of the dirt. They don't eat corn unless it's fed in soy, unless it's thrown to them, right? And same reason, the corn and soy makes the chickens bigger faster, so do the hormones and antibiotics. but they make you sick as well. So same thing, doesn't matter the meat source. Same goes for their eggs though. So we'll take it a step farther. What they produce can be omega-3 or omega-6. So if we feed chickens corn and grain and soy, that's going to spin their egg profile from an omega-3 rich, healthy egg to an omega-6 pro-inflammatory, unhealthy egg. All right. So it is worth the extra money for the free-range, properly fed chickens. Fruits and vegetables. Any issue with that? Other than branching out and trying something different than.
Does it matter if it's organic or non-organic?
Yes, sometimes. Expand on that. The things with thicker skin, you can save your money on and go non-organic unless they're GMO. Never GMO. Okay, GMO is genetically modified organisms, so Monsanto. All corn and soybeans and soy products are going to be GMO, so don't eat either. All right, and corn.
Fruit is GMO.
On the labels, it'll say, so banana has a sticker on it, right? It says 4011. That's a normal, conventional banana. If it says 94011, 9 means it's organic. If it says 8, that's genetically modified. 84011, 8 is a genetically modified sticker. But the problem in America is they don't have to label GMO food. It's a big battle going on politically right now because...
The only sticker I've seen on a banana was a Chiquita
yeah.
sticker.
Well, if you look at the bottom of it, there's a...
On the Chiquita sticker?
Yeah, there's a 4-digit...
number?
Yeah. That's how they bring it up. There's no UPC on there.
Is that universal for an 8 to be?
Yep.
Okay.
8's genetically modified universally, 9 is organic universally, and just the 4 numbers is conventional, which you're rolling the dice as to what that means.
So is that same with like UPC codes on meat and stuff?
The meat, no. With meat, it's going to say, like for cows, it has to say grass-fed. All right. There's a whole game of semantics that they play. So you'll be in there, and you'll have grass-fed next to vegetarian-fed, next to all-natural, and and they'll all have a picture of a cow eating in a grassy field with a nice red barn behind it.
So what's the difference between grass-fed and all-natural?
Everything. Grass-fed is what it says. All-natural, you're guessing what it means, but it's pretty much 100% not grass-fed.
Okay.
Same with vegetarian-fed. Vegetarian-fed basically means soy and corn. Yeah.
It's vegetarian. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. And if you feed it, yeah, exactly. So unless it says grass-fed beef, it is not grass-fed. Okay. They'll use pictures and words to try and get you there, but it's really easy. Look for that, or they're lying. Same thing on restaurant menus. They'll say all natural, vegetarian-fed beef, and and the waitresses don't even know. You're like, is this grass-fed? Yeah, it's vegetarian. Well, no. It's soy and corn-fed then. Okay? So unless it says grass-fed, it's not. Your nuts and seeds are okay. All right? Who's got problems with the no side?
Nuts and seeds, I see peanuts down low. Is peanuts are bad? Don't eat peanuts, like if
Yeah.
you get,
Peanuts aren't a nut, they're actually a legume.
so like if you get like the Planters variety pack or whatever, don't eat the peanuts.
Yeah.
Skip them.
Yeah.
Alright.
Thought that was protein. I mean, I've always heard peanuts is good for protein.
There's protein in peanuts. But it's,
all legumes
yeah.
have protein.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just chasing protein, you can get in trouble, right? Because protein can come in all kinds of different packages. But you can get protein from all the other nuts and not the peanuts. So the question usually comes up, well, what if I get organic peanuts? If you get organic peanuts, there's a bacteria on peanuts that grows aflatoxin, and aflatoxin is a carcinogenic toxin produced by the bacteria, so that's pro-cancerous. All right, so your organic peanuts, your organic peanuts are can lead to cancer. And then if you say, well, then I'll get non-organic peanuts because they're bleached. Well, then think about what you just said, because you're eating bleach. Okay, so neither choice is good. But your almonds, your cashews, your Brazil nuts, your pecans, your walnuts, go to town on those.
So anything in a tree is good.
Yes. Yeah.
And you gotta remember, there's a big difference between a nut and a legume. Legume comes in a pod,
pretty much anything that comes in a pod is not something you want to eat. Soy, peanuts, even things like green beans and peas are not as good as getting an actual leafy vegetable or a, you know, something more like a traditional vegetable. When you think of vegetable, think stem, root, or leaf. Don't think of anything that comes in a pod.
Okay, good there? So like I said, peanuts really hurt my feelings because I loved peanut butter and put it on everything. But almond butter, sunflower butter that Dave has back there is amazing. And it's pretty much everywhere now because, again, this stuff is spreading. No one's asking about grains. You guys are the, like, easiest pushover group I've ever had. You're just going to all give it up tonight.
Yeah, we're not sure I'm doing any of this.
With no resistance. All right.
I haven't even did it yet.
Yeah, neither have I.
In my house, there's nothing but the stuff on the no list.
Right. And so to that point, there maybe in a group this size, maybe one of you is the type of person that can go home and just throw it all away. That's not necessarily the best thing. If we're trying to be healthy, stress is unhealthy, right? So if it's stressful to go throw everything away and be perfect tonight, then don't do that. All right, like baby steps, okay? Because we want you to go beyond tonight. We want you to adopt this and actually make the changes. So one recommendation could be finish what's in your cupboards, and as you go back and shop, make better choices as you shop from here on out, and eventually it'll be switched over. Okay. Grains are bad because grains are very acidic. Grains are high in omega-6s. Grains actually carry anti-nutrients that strip your body of minerals. So in order for you to digest and get rid of them, you have to buffer the acid, so you're stripping your bones of minerals. So a high grain consumption again helps lead to the osteoporosis problem we have, along with our dairy consumption. Who can name another species that drinks milk after they've come off the teat? None. Alright, so therefore no other species consumes milk from another species either, right? Right. So if that's not enough for you, milk is very acidic. Milk has a protein in it. The casein protein in milk is a lot like gluten in terms of the sensitivity and allergy it can cause in your body. Gluten and the casein in dairy both can lead to autoimmune disease because you can consume it initially and your body sees it and gets rid of it, but the proteins look very similar to proteins that we have in our body. So over time, the body forgets how to distinguish between me and enemy and attacks everything. And that's what autoimmunity is. Autoimmune disease is just the body immune system no longer recognizing the difference between self and non-self.
So how does, with dairy being on the no list, a lot of the protein, like powders and stuff, and I think even like the Progenex or whatever that's here, right, it says if you're allergic to dairy or anything like that. So a lot of that has dairy in it. Why would that have dairy in it?
Because they don't care about your health. They care about making your biceps as big as possible.
Would you say that it's not good for you, or?
Yeah. So there's a couple caveats though. Hydrolyzed whey protein, which Progenex is, 100% hydrolyzed whey, is pre-digested down to the dying tripeptides. So basically 2 and 3 piece strings of amino acids. So essentially the dairy is taken out of it and it's digested down to its very primitive molecular parts. So you're just drinking that and incorporating it in your body. Also, SFH, which is also out there, which I take, is from grass-fed, free-range A1 cows. So essentially it's the healthiest cows you can eat from. It's high in omega-3 content. And A1 means they are A1 means they're beta casein free, which is that protein that's very allergenic to you. So there's very few proteins on the market that are going to be okay. But I went through lots of whey proteins because if I drink a bad one, I'll have like a gut reaction. So there's very few, but those two. So 100% hydrolyzed whey and the grass-fed clean ones, of which SFH, Life Source Nutrition has one, and those are the only two I found.
We're going to do a supplement talk next Friday, so a lot of those questions can then come up next Friday as well.
But that's good critical thinking. What else? Vegetable oils are key. So, okay to cook with olive oil. Olive oil is a medium heat oil though, so never do high heat with olive oil. Medium heat only with olive oil. Coconut oil, you can cook high heat as high as you want. Alright, so those should be the two that you cook with. Your vegetable oils, canola oils, sunflower oils, corn, soy, safflower. Those are all very, very high on the omega-6 spectrum. And a lot of them, if you cook them too high, become trans fats. That's how you make trans fats. So even olive oil, if you cook it at high heat, you're going to create a trans fat out of it. So stay medium heat with your olive oils. What else?
What's that thing on the end there with the nightshade stuff?
This? If you have autoimmune disease, avoid the nightshades. So like your tomatoes, potatoes, because they tend to irritate the autoimmunity, cause inflammatory response, and they look, again, they have parts of them that look similar to your body cells. So it's hard for the immune system to tell the difference.
So is that potato, sweet potato you mean? Because aren't just regular potatoes not
more
paleo?
Yeah, it's more white, but sweet potatoes are also non-paleo if you're going strict. Alright, if you're going not so strict, or paleo diet for athletes, which is a whole different talk, we can start adding some of that back in at only certain specific windows of the day. Okay?
So yeah, like hot pepper, you mean like jalapeno?
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah. So I mean, that's only if you have autoimmune issues. So like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, yeah, those deals. Otherwise, you're okay with them. Good. Next slide.
So one more question.
Yeah.
So if we don't have any of those diseases, then potatoes are okay?
No.
Oh.
Because potatoes are a tuber. If it's it says potatoes. So if you're being strict, no. We gotta do a paleo diet for athletes now. The quick 5-second deal on that is there are windows in the day when you could add, say, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, or white rice even back, and that's immediately post-workout because you've just burned through your glycogen stores and you're very insulin sensitive. Those have high glycemic index and hit the blood quickly, and you'll absorb them quickly. So within a 2-hour window post-workout, you can add those back in. But at 2:01 and the rest of the night, you don't want to add those back. Okay. So here's what the real food pyramid should look like. All right. Instead of 11 to 13 servings of grains every day as your default, we're gonna switch that with fruits and vegetables. Next is your meats, then nuts, seeds, fruits, and then your spicing and herbs and everything that you like to add to flavor it up is on top.
So what does that amount to a day? Like how many servings of vegetables and fruit should you have?
I would say 11 to 13 because that's taking over the base. It should be. You don't even have to count servings. It should be the majority of what you put in should be these. Next that, next that. So on a plate, it should be probably 70, 25. What's left? 5. Make sense? Alright, so proven benefits of eating well. So people who do not eat fresh fruit every day have 32% greater chance of stroke, 24% greater chance of heart attack. British Medical Journal. Alright, an apple a day decreases kidney cancer risk 60%. Animals fed cruciferous vegetables, that is cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, 90% reduction in cancer after exposure to aflatoxin. So that's a toxin on peanuts that causes cancer. They took it and exposed it to animals to see how many got cancer when they ate broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. 90% reduction. So again, I just did a preventing cancer naturally talk last night up in Mooresville. If you want to prevent cancer, that's one of the top 5 things that you can eat to prevent it. Are the cruciferous vegetables.
Those are the only 3.
Cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage. Those are the majors. Yeah. More. So looking at 170 studies over 17 nations, people who eat the most fruits and vegetables consistently have half the cancer of those who eat it the least. So again, people who eat the base of their food pyramid as those fruits and vegetables have half the cancer risk. 20% reduction in colon cancer with one additional serving a day of vegetables. All right, so you don't have to be perfect tomorrow to start getting the benefit. You just add 1 serving of vegetables to one of your meals, and you just cut your colon cancer risk 20%. It's not hard, right? Men who ate fresh fruit every day, 70% less chance of dying from cancer of the digestive tract. All right, so again.
It has to be fresh though?
Yeah.
Frozen?
No. So, good question. Fresh is best in all things. Raw and fresh is best, right? Where am I going? Frozen, fresh. Oh, okay. Fresh, cooked, frozen. Sorry, I was like, I knew there was 3 things I wanted to tell you about, but I could only think of 2. Fresh is best, obviously. So your fresh organic veggies. Then cooked is going to be next, and then your frozen organics would be next, because you don't know really how long they've been frozen.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the fruit though, because I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to get
I know.
some fruit.
Yeah, so fresh in season, raw, would be the very best, right?
Yeah, but I don't like all of that fruit.
Yeah.
The stuff that's in season at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so switching to frozen would be better than not eating it?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
Or if that serving's not going to be in your day unless you have frozen, absolutely frozen, right? Okay. So benefits of paleo. So putting all this together, all right. If grains cause obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, stroke, if we cut those out, that's pretty. What are we going to benefit, or how are we going to benefit? Our risk for those things are dropping through the floor, right? We will also lose weight, right? Because unburned sugar goes to fat. If we're not eating more sugar than energy that we're burning, we're not going to become fat. And then if we cut out the sugar we are eating and continue to burn the energy in here, you're going to lose weight, gain muscle, and get leaner and defined. Digestion, big time. More fruits and vegetables, more fiber. If you start taking a probiotic, that's what they feed off of and ferment and create the anti-cancer properties and stuff. Big time digestion changes. All right, I didn't, not to be too gross here, but 5 years in college I didn't have one solid stool. All right, I ate commons food every meal. That's what college kids eat, and I never had a solid stool. And it was like that was normal for me, but that's not normal, right? So I was never diagnosed, but I would say I at least had irritable bowel disease. Once I learned this stuff, started eating this way and adding probiotics in, no issues anymore. All right, and you should be going to the bath. You should be going number 2 to 3 times a day. If you're not, you're constipated. All right, it's healthy to go that much. Beautiful skin. Omega-3s are great for hair, skin, and nails. It's another benefit. So, guys, get your nails looking good. Less pain. Omega-3s, the best anti-inflammatory on the planet. So instead of popping the ibuprofen and the aspirin and stuff after Fran, go home and chug some fish oil. Clearer head. Part of that is you're not going to have the highs and lows of the blood sugar and the crashes. All right, so you can focus and be more productive at work, get that raise. Reverse diabetes, again, cutting the grains down, cutting that chronic high blood sugar down, cutting the risk of diabetes. Feeling younger, obviously. Lower blood pressure, lower blood glucose, obvious. More energy, and then get off the prescriptions. All right, a lot of people are on prescriptions because of their poor diet, or because of things their diet are inducing. And then if the average is 13, then they're on a prescription for the side effect of the first prescription, and we go through that nasty vicious cycle there. And then they have 4 different doctors who aren't co-managing, and they're all adding prescriptions to the picture. Okay, it's nasty. So the best you can do, Thomas Jefferson said, let food be your medicine, right? So proper diet. So getting started, again, like we said earlier with Anthony, unless you can, don't go home and just throw everything out today, because that's stressful. Go home and start making better choices. All right? And as you begin to go shopping again, sub out the good things. And instead of buying that cereal for breakfast, buy more eggs. The eggs you've been avoiding for 20 years because cholesterol is bad, right? You can eat eggs again. I've eaten the same breakfast for 5 years straight. I promise you, unless I was on the road and couldn't make it myself. But it's been 3 eggs as part of it, and my cholesterol is fine. Okay. So look, it's not hard either. So if you're a grain addict, which many Americans are, you're like, how am I going to do this? Yeah, instead of the big piece of spaghetti pasta there, we get rid of that. Add a little salad. Have our asparagus and a big chunk of meat. If you guys are thinking, well, I love the spaghetti, and that's really not going to fill me up the same as spaghetti. Well, you're right. It's not. And the first week or two, you might feel hungrier because you're not eating the same amount. So if you want to, for now, as like a stepping stone, get rid of that or keep that, but put like a sweet potato on there. All right, or a white potato. Like, it's not strict, but if it's going to get you there, do it. All right, easy stuff, and it's nice to look at on a plate. Pasta's ugly. Implementation steps. Have an accountability partner. So Anthony, you're doing this with your sons. You know, you can hold each other accountable there. If you're out at a restaurant, a lot of restaurants are moving this way. A gluten-free menu is not necessarily paleo, but it's much better than their normal menu. But you don't even have to limit yourself to that. Get what you want, but sub the salad instead of the fries, or sub out the pasta for the salad. You know, it's really easy. I can have meat, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. What sides do you have that fit that? And then just fill it in. All right. Make it a family affair. Again, if everyone's involved, you have the support of everyone. It's a lot easier to adopt. Do not shop on an empty stomach, because that's when bad decisions happen. All right. I'm hungry. That DrJohn looks really good, right? So eat first, then go shop. Shop the outside edges of the store. Everything in the middle of the store is corn. All right. It's in a different box, but it's all corn. It's all corn-based, even the walls that they're sitting on. So don't shop in the middle of the store. Stay on the outside, the produce and the meats. Push your comfort zone. Be creative. If you've only ever eaten 3 vegetables, it's time to expand a little bit. All right. There's good stuff in there. There are 8 million sites on the internet with paleo diet recipes. Really simple. A lot of books too. Mentally prepare. The first week or two is going to be hard. I always have patients come back hating me the first 2 weeks. I'm like, hang in there till week 5-ish. You'll be feeling great at week 5. But they're literally, grains are an addiction, and there is a withdrawal. You'll see that in the book. Get ready for that. Make it through that, and you'll be feeling great after that. Have fun with it. So basically, the paleo solution to what Western society is facing is feeding our genes what they need to express health. So that is a paleo diet, or eating the way that our hunter-gatherer ancestors ate. That is feeding it through movement, which we're doing in here in the chiropractic office on a segmental level, and then feeding it through healthy internal dialogues and surrounding yourself with good, happy, healthy people. All right, so that is that's the talk, and that's basically the paleo diet. What questions do we have?
What book is he reading?
It's called Wheat Belly by William Davis. He's a cardiologist in Minnesota that basically, with his patients, he doesn't even follow paleo. I mean, it's paleo without him knowing it. But he just has them wipe out all grains from their diet. And he goes through the book, and he's wiping out rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, you name it.
No more sandwiches.
Bread. Lettuce wraps. Yeah. For lunch, I usually do leftovers of dinner. So if you're cooking up a few burgers or chicken breasts or whatever, make extra and eat it tomorrow. What else?
Where's the best place to shop? To get the natural, grass-fed, organic.
The best place to shop that's most cost-effective would be Trader Joe's. There's one University and one in Uptown. Hopefully we'll get one here soon. Earth Fare is more expensive, but has the stuff. Healthy Home Economist in Davidson has the stuff. Fresh Market in Cornelius does, but they're way overpriced. Not a huge selection. Trader Joe, yeah. So Farmers Market, or if you're talking about the beef, call up a grass-fed farm. There's a few in the area, and buy a quarter cow, or your foundations group, each split it up. You know, and so a quarter cow is going to give you 100 pounds or so of beef that's all grass-fed that you're going to eat for a year. You know, so that's the most economical way. There's a website, grassfedmoo.com. It's a family in Charlotte that you could buy as small as I think a 16th of a cow. So it's it's like $2.95 a pound. Whereas in the stores you can pay up to $8 a pound for the grass fed.
Yeah, and didn't see, I noticed that you talked about natural sugar, but what about the artificial sweeteners and stuff like that? Again, it's not
What was the first word you said?
artificial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I was saying that, I was like,
Anything that
don't say
acts
that.
like sugar is going to give you the same response in your body as sugar. The only thing they cut out is the calories. So now you have something that's processed, and then you added the bad effects of sugar. The only thing you cut out were calories.
And it's chemically created most of the time, so it's not naturally occurring. So, like your aspartames, your sucralose is a chlorine derivative. So the only one really that you're okay with is stevia. But haven't heard of stevia? Okay, so stevia is a plant-based sugar alternative, 0-calorie thing that you could use. You know, small bits of honey or maple syrup, I'd much rather see you do than like a Splenda or a pink packet. So good question there. What else?
So guys, what I gave you here in this packet, I don't know if you had a chance to kind of look at it or not. The first page is going to be basically a food list, right? This is what you can take shopping. These are the things you can and can't get. On my version, obviously, you can see that there's some green on mine. Yours is then the bolded version. So anything in bold is going to be your better option, right? What you would rather do over the other ones. And then the rest of it is just some basic information, right? Second page is all about sugar, right? It's just going to list you all the different versions of sugar. So when you're looking at a label or something like that, you want to avoid everything on this list, right? Pretty much any sugar you get is bad sugar. I mean, we have a phrase that sugar is sugar is sugar. So if it's going to be on this list, you pretty much want to avoid it. After that, you just get some basic guidelines. The very back page is about eating out, kind of some simple rules to follow eating out. And the third page, you just got some simple ideas of kind of how to make a good choice versus a bad choice, how to go into the idea of buying meat, buying protein, things like that, so that you have a better understanding of what to expect, what to look for. So we just wanted to give you a little bit of stuff you can take home, because we know when you wake up tomorrow you're going to be like, what was he saying again? I don't remember. I'm just going to go eat some oatmeal or something this morning instead. So just to give you something that you can pull back out and be like, all right, yeah, I can eat that. I like that. Maybe I'll try this out.
Yeah, and Anthony just said I love oatmeal. So know that many have gone before you. So I was in that same space. I'm sure Brendan was.
Oh yeah.
Kyle was. So when you first learn it, of course, change is stressful, right? So you've lived your whole life this way. Now we're asking you to live this way. Again, you don't have to be there tomorrow, but it's every choice that you make in the right direction is going to make it easier.
What about bacon fat?
We love bacon. I plead the fifth on bacon. No, bacon.
But cooking with the fat is still, I mean, I started paleo like a month ago, so I'm still in the beginning process of it.
Yeah.
Let's just use bacon fat a lot. Does it matter on bacon, or is all bacon fat just...
No, it's fine, but again, you want to go to, is it a pig that was raised like a pig, or was it an industrial pig? You know? So, because their fat profiles are going to be different. Another thing with bacon, if it's got the nitrates and nitrites in it, those are carcinogenic or cancerous. So if you cook the bacon and sprinkle cumin on it, cumin will bind those carcinogens and lessen the impact of them on you. But you want to look for bacon that is nitrite and nitrate free.
Sugar-free. It's actually kind of hard to find sugar-free bacon.
Sugar-free.
They cure it with sugar, so when they're in the process of kind of trying it before it gets cut up and all that, they use sugar in that curing process. So you want to try to find sugar-free bacon if you can. It's really, really tiny amounts, so it would be acceptable for most people to do it. But again, if you can find it, it's a better option.
Trader Joe's has pork bacon, turkey bacon, beef bacon. They have options for you too. Beef bacon's good.
Turkey bacon, I heard that's really not good for you.
Again,
Depends on the turkey.
Yeah, because the right turkey is good for you, right?
Okay.
So, again, just thinking, keep that in the top of your mind, like when you're making the selections. There is no such thing as, well, I was going to say there's no such thing as bad turkey, but there is. But if it's a naturally, properly raised and fed turkey, there's nothing wrong with that for you. All right. So is it man-made, or is it God's turkey or man's turkey? Robo turkey or natural turkey?
Talking about food, how about wine?
How about wine?
About the beer.
How much wine did hunter-gatherers drink?
Made out of
Minimal. No, alcohol comes up though. So hunter-gatherers had very, very little. When they found something that had been dead and fermenting, they probably had a, you know, if they're adventurous enough, probably had to intoxicate a couple hours. But again, it wasn't as, that was maybe once a quarter, not
So
once a
mushrooms
weekend.
are better?
What are?
Mushrooms are better?
Yes. Yes, organically.
Organic mushrooms. Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the things, and the other thing,
Grapes are good.
Beer comes up a lot because everyone's like, no, well, isn't beer a healthier alcohol option than the others? The answer is no, because beer is made from wheat.
Gluten bomb.
You know, it's pretty much pure gluten. So when we talk about going gluten free and trying to get rid of those grains, beer is the exact opposite of what you're looking for.
About gluten-free beer.
That sucks.
And I'm sure it does.
Well, and so
anything gluten free.
so what body parts of an alcoholic go first?
We good.
Gut. What else? Liver, and brain. Right. So liver. What do they get?
The dirty one.
They get cirrhosis. It's like fatty liver, scarred. Well, alcohol. One of the reasons alcohol is bad is it's metabolized the exact same as sugar. All right. So you're drinking. Say there's no gluten in beer. Still drinking the alcohol is like drinking straight sugar, or even like drinking straight high fructose corn
We're
syrup to
not
the
trying to be
liver.
perfect right away. So
Right.
we got to have some things to get us
Yes,
to the end.
and that's the thing.
Right.
I don't go completely alcohol free. You know, I'll have I had a glass of wine with dinner last night. I had a beer the other night. It's not like something you got to be perfect on. But again, you know, the more you can cut it out. John doesn't drink any alcohol whatsoever. None at all.
He's a little crazy.
And yeah, he is a little crazy. But that's the idea, right? The more you can moderate, the more you can get rid of those things, the healthier you are becoming.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. You
Well,
don't
if I
need to be
just cut out
perfect
the
tomorrow,
grains, that would be-
but every
Yeah,
step you can take in the right direction.
If we're going stepwise, yeah. I mean, if you cut out grains first, awesome.
If I did everything except
best
the
thing you could do.
alcohol.
Shoot for 80-20. If you're eating 3 meals a day, that's 21 a week. 80% of that is 17. So if you do 17 meals perfect, that leaves you 4 to kind of cheat on. Like you're not going totally off the wagon, but you're cheating a little bit. I usually save those in football season. I'll save those for Saturday, Sunday because I like wings for football. So 80-20 is a way, instead of being perfect, is a way to kind of get your feet wet with it. Or if you want to just spread it out, 80% of your plate, 20%. But eventually you have to, do 100%.
If you're doing the paleo thing is the real thing, do you worry about like calories or anything like that? Count calories, and you just eat whatever you want to eat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Try and eat enough calories of broccoli and spinach to make yourself fat. It's really hard. I haven't seen anyone do it. Right? And the protein, if it's the right protein, protein is hard to get fat on, period. And if you're not eating any carbs, you could even eat grain protein and you're still never going to get fat because that's really hard, right? So again, that would be another step. I commonly get, cutting out grains and going to grass-fed beef, that's going to be expensive. Going to organic, that's going to be expensive. Well, cut out grains, and even if you have to eat grain-fed beef for a little while, still cutting out the grains is massive. Like, best step you could do, okay? So even if you have to maintain on the grain-fed beef, I'm not saying that's good for you, but cutting out the grains was such a massively healthy step for you.
You're going to improve.
Yes. Yes.
Your health will improve.
Yes. Absolutely.
Any restaurants around here that you'd recommend, like that have good menus for this type of eating?
At this point, there's a lot. Zoe's Kitchen,
Bad
Jason's
Daddies.
Delis, Bad Daddies. Those are my favorite, personally.
Mine too.
You can find options at any restaurant.
Farm to table places in Charlotte. There's quite a few in Charlotte. Harvest Moon.
Yeah, Harvest Moon.
Zoe Jane's.
I also like Brick House up in Davidson. You can get some good stuff up there. You know, and again, you might have to modify a few things. You might have to ask for a different side or something like that. But like I said, I mean, you can get something good just about anywhere you go.
But Bad Daddy's, like, they have a normal bun, right, which is bad. They have a gluten-free bun, which is a step in the right direction, but blood sugar-wise is still just as bad. And then they have lettuce wrap. So they'll give you two big, like, they'll take a head of lettuce, basically cut it in half, and put your burger between it. I mean, you don't lose anything, really, because all the flavors in the burger and the bacon.
What about sauces and marinades and all that? I mean, that's,
Again,
you cut all those out?
Depends what they marinate.
Yeah, so you're going to become an ingredient reader. If it's not, you know,
I have to quit my job.
not sucralose, aspartame, all these artificial sweeteners. You saw on the food pyramid, the very top was herbs, spices, you know, extracts, things you use to cook. So as long as they're clean, you're good. So like most salad dressings are garbage, but you know, vinaigrette is good. You can make your own with olive oil, some cayenne pepper, and like squeeze a lemon. That's really awesome. So again, just Google Paleo Diet recipes, and they'll have it broken down to even condiments that you can make for yourself. It's not as intimidating as you think. Once you
You can make paleo mayonnaise if you're a mayonnaise freak. You can add basically like a ranch spice packet into it, and you get ranch dressing. You know, so if those are kind of staples, you think, you know, if you gotta have that on a salad, you still have that, and you have a complete paleo option of it. And it's real simple to make. You just take some olive oil, an egg, some lemon juice, and the spices. You need a blender.
If you are a milk drinker, milk's gone, but almond milk and coconut milk are awesome. So those are everywhere now. Silk brand dark chocolate almond milk is amazing. So like eat some of the proteins, like there's hydrolyzed whey proteins that the flavored ones use sucralose, which is bad and can lead to diabetes, but the unflavored ones don't. So if you're getting the unflavored protein, throw in some of that Silk dark chocolate almond milk, so you get the flavor and you're getting 22 grams of carbs, so post-workout refueling some glycogen. There's coconut milk ice cream, there's almond milk ice cream now. So again, if you're an ice cream guy, you don't have to get rid of ice cream, you just have to change the source of it. But those are delicious. There's a chocolate peanut butter coconut milk ice cream. Peanut butter, I mean, you got rid of the dairy, they threw some peanut butter in it. You gotta do it.
Give and take.
Yeah.
Give and take.
80-20, right? So, you guys can do it, and we're here to support you. And maybe as your foundations group, maybe be accountable to each other too, and break up a cow together. It's good stuff. I have cards here. You can feel free to my website. I have all I post at least one video a week on all kinds of health topics. I blog all the time. You can email me with any paleo questions or anything you have. I'm happy to help you there. Monday we're going to take you through some movement screens, so I'm obviously happy to help you from a chiropractic standpoint and keep you performing in the gym as well. So my cards are here, and you'll see me working out, I'm sure. So thank you so much. If you have any more questions, I'll take them, but otherwise you're free to go. I know none of us have eaten dinner yet. Thank you.
I always eat before you do a talk like this.